Hi, welcome back to Andrea Fontana Beauty. Today, we're doing a first impression, get ready with me makeup look. And I have 3 new products. Well, the eyeshadow palette's new. These are kind of new. They're new to me. I haven't tried them yet. I just got these all, and they're all from Juvia's place, and I'm excited. We're gonna test them out, and it's gonna be a green look because look at that eyeshadow palette. I'm very excited. I think it's gonna be really beautiful. And let's see what we can make. We're gonna start with the brows, and I'm gonna start by just brushing through them because I just woke up a little while ago and they're a little cray cray. I'm gonna brush a little bit of the Glossier Boy Brow through them, just like that. This is the shade Black. I'm just trying to use it up because I've found a dupe for it that I like just as much from the drugstore, and this is my last one. All right, brows are done. Let's move on to the eyes. I'm gonna use my Fenty Pro Filter primer, and I'm just gonna pop that all over the lids, up to the brow bone, and blend it in with my ring finger. Now, since this palette doesn't have any colors that are not green, I'm gonna go in with my Promise and Pixie palette, and I'm gonna use this shade right here, this lightest shade. It's just like a setting powder, and I'm just gonna pop that all over. Now, to decide how I wanna create this look, I think we're gonna start. I'm gonna take a fluffy brush and I'm gonna go into this top True Emerald Green shade, and I'm gonna start on the outside, and I'm just kind of like, see, I'm just placing it right in the outer, and then I'm gonna blend it up. So most of the pigment I'm applying is going straight into the corner, but after I blend that out, I'm like taking it through the crease. Can you see that? This is a really pigmented shadow. I just wanted to try the formula from their quads because I don't have a quad from them. I am gonna kind of pull it out towards the edge so that I get kind of like a subtle winged effect. It might be easier if you take like a little, I'm gonna take a little pencil brush and go with the same color and just kind of do these brushing motions so that I pull it out a bit. And then buff it out again. Just like that. We're just creating the shape. We're gonna do the same thing on the other eye. So put a small little dab of the green, place it in that outer corner, and kind of like little circular motions to really buff that in, and then pull it through the crease. Now I'm gonna go in with my angled fluffy brush and just buff out through the crease so that we have a nice fade. You can see the shape we're creating. It's a little bit darker on this side, so I'm gonna add a little more pigment to this side. Now, I think I'm gonna go in with this more like olivey green sheen on the lid. I'm gonna use my finger for that actually. So I'm just gonna take my ring finger and I'm just gonna swirl it around. Look how pretty that is. And I'm gonna gently tap that on the lid. I have to say, this feels pretty smooth. Greens are really hard to formulate, so I'm really happy with that so far. And then I'm gonna go back in with my fluffy brush and blend this out. See how now we just have like the perfect shape because we laid that mat down first. And I'm gonna go in again with that fluffy angle brush and just buff that out so that we have a good seamless line. Now what I actually wanna do is, okay, I'm gonna spray a little bit of MAC Fix Plus on my brush, and then I'm gonna go into that same shimmery green. I just want it to be more, yeah. I needed more metallicness. I was losing some of the sheen by just putting it on dry. Love that. And then I'm gonna go back in with my blending brush and just buff out, gently buff out the crease. So there we are so far. I do want to go back with my pencil brush, and I'm gonna actually tap into this really deep matte olive green. And I wanna try to intensify this outer corner a little bit. So I'm just tapping that on, and then I'm gonna blend it in like that. Yeah, see, I like how that looks better. Now, one thing I'm gonna do actually to clean this up a bit is I'm gonna go in with this, because this palette obviously has no colors besides green. So I need like a transition shade of some sort. So I'm actually gonna go into this. This is the Juvia's Bronzee palette in medium. Okay, it comes with 2 beautiful bronzers. And I'm gonna go in with that same fluffy brush that I was using to blend out the crease. And I'm gonna gently dip into the top lighter. And I'm gonna blend this out. Just buff that. Hopefully that'll pick up the difference that that makes. It's just nice to have a little bit more of a transition besides just like green. Here we go. I think that's kind of fun. It kind of reminds me of like camo. I mean, it is called the Rebel Army palette. Obviously we need to do some cleaning up under the eyes. So I've got a cotton pad, a Q-tip, and some makeup remover. Put a little bit of the makeup remover on the cotton pad. Gently clean that up. And do you see how like if I fold this in half, I can so easily just be like, bling. Now, so now that like, do you see what a nice clean edge we just got on that? If you want to do it further, you can use your Q-tip. I just like to go in with a clean Q-tip to kind of remove some of the residue to make sure we're good. Let's move on to the rest of the face. First, I want to put a little bit of, this is the Lanolips 101 ointment. My lips just feel really dry right now. All right, so we are going to prime my face with the e.l.f. Putty Primer. Why did that sound wrong when I was saying it? Again, I like to pop this on all over and then blend it out. And I like to kind of do a little bit of this pressing motions. We are primed. We're gonna go in. I'm actually gonna mix 2 things for my foundation. Back to my original formula, we're gonna mix the True Match Lumi Glotion by L'Oreal and my Ordinary High Coverage Foundation. I have the shade 2.1Y. And I'm gonna do a pump of the foundation and then equal parts of my True Match Lumi Glotion. And then we're just gonna mix those on the back of my hand. And put them all over. My face is much paler than my body right now, which is why this may seem a little dark for my face. But adding the True Match Lumi Glotion shears it out a bit so that it's not quite so high coverage. And then allows me to match my body more because it's a little more of like a tinted moisturizer, I would say. Which I prefer when I'm not my correct color. Make sure to get the ears because we don't match correctly. And then I'm gonna take, I always take my extra and go through on the cheeks a little more because it's where my redness is and where I honestly need the most coverage. Make sure you bring it down the neck so that you match. Now I'm just like dewy and more tan. Next we're taking my NARS Creamy Concealer. Popping that. Blend that in. Ooh, I'm falling more in love with these eyes as we get further along. This is the Pixie Promise palette that I went into earlier. I'm gonna take, first, I like to set with this yellow shade under the eyes, and then I like to set with, I kind of do this one everywhere I just concealed, and then I go in and do this light one just under my eyes. I love this palette. If you've been watching my videos recently, you already know that. I absolutely adore 3 of the new 4. There's 4 new palettes and I adore 3 of them. The eyeshadow palette, which is kind of meh, but that's fine because I already have a bunch of eyeshadows I love. Like, look how that blurs so nicely. Okay, now we're gonna go into the light one and just brighten up a little more. Under the eye there, just like that. We're gonna go back in with that Juvia's Place Bronzee palette in medium. I'm gonna start with the top one, which is a little bit more yellow, and I'm just gently bronzing up the face. Oh, it just blends so nicely. Now these are pretty warm tones. I ordered this online, so it's not like I saw it in person. I'm pretty sure that they offer them in some Ultas in person, so you could like go and see the shades up close, but I'm using this as a good old bronzer. I'm doing a little extra. Now I'm going in with that bottom shade, which is just a little warmer, a little more red, not quite as yellow. Guys, I really like that. It's so smooth and easy to work with. Love it. Okay, now we have the Juvia's Place Blushed Rougie. Rougie? Yeah, Blushed Rougie palette in, this is volume 1. Which is this beautiful peachy tone on the bottom and then this beautiful berry shade on top. You know me, I'm gonna go for that orange shade on the bottom. And buff. Bring it up. Guys, Juvia's Place blushes are so freaking pigmented. Do you see that right now? I'm just gonna buff it in so it looks a little less intense. I literally tapped it once. I mean, you know the drill. The blushes always pick up super easily on camera, so it always looks so insane. But I promise you, it is not this crazy in person. But say you put this on and you were like, oh, I did way too much. I look terrible. I'm gonna teach you how to fix it. You're gonna take your foundation brush and you're just gonna buff around the edges, okay? Like that, okay? So you start with your foundation brush. Then what you do is you take your powder brush. And you really go in. And blend out those edges. See? And it softens everything. Ah! I knew I was gonna love it. I have one other Juvia's Place blush and it is so pigmented and beautiful, so I knew I was gonna like this. Lastly, we're gonna go in with, I got more of the e.l.f. Bite Size Duo Face Duos, and this is the one in Watermelon. And it's kind of like a nice little peachy, orangey highlight. So, okay, can I get that to focus on it? There you go. So we're gonna use this as our highlight. Do you see that? These are insane, guys. The blushes are good, the highlights are good. I have 3 of them now. And I'm obsessed. Oh, they're so pretty. Again, I always like to go over a little bit with my powder brush just to like make it simmer down a little bit. But like, ugh. I love how finely milled they are. Like, the fact that this is $3-4 is insane to me because you get 2 products, not just 1, 2, that are both phenomenal. And they're milled so finely. e.l.f. really killed it. You can totally leave I'm not as big of a fan of the eyeshadow quads, but man, these face duos, so freaking good. Honestly, I don't think I'm gonna put anything on my lips because I kind of like the natural, because everything else is so made up. Yeah, I don't even think I'm gonna do, which is pretty rare. Normally, if I'm gonna do this dramatic of a look on top, I always wanna do something on the lower lash line, but honestly, I kind of love that there's nothing. I am gonna take a little bit of that highlight that we just put on our cheeks and just pop it in the inner corner since that palette didn't have a highlight shade for the inner corner. Yeah, I needed that just to kind of brighten it up. All right, I'm gonna go off camera, apply my mascara, and we're gonna take a look at the final look. All right, this is the final look, everybody. I will say one of my biggest tips if you are working with, if you're just new to blending, so eyeshadow, whether it's color like this that can seem a little scary and it can start to look a little muddy, the best thing you can do is clean up and get this sharp edge, and it does something to just make your look really complete and polished. And so I highly recommend trying that if you haven't and you're doing like a darker look. Really great. Also, I personally love to pair green with this orangey peachier cheek because I think it pairs really nicely. Sometimes if you go a little too cool, it can feel very Christmassy, but to me this feels very like bronzed, and I don't know, I love it. I love it. I love the like camouflage army color palette of olive greens and browns and stuff together, so I feel like that bronzy orangeness does a really nice job with the green. I can't speak highly enough about the 3, where's the other guy? The 3 palettes. I mean, it's very comparable to the other Juvia's Place shadows that I love. These 2 are so pigmented but blendable. They just nail it. They do with face powders and stuff. So I'll probably pick up another one of these blush palettes because I really do love them. And this bronzer, I mean, how nice that you get 2 full-size bronzing shades in one palette. Like, so nice. Especially for the price, again, because their prices are phenomenal. I will leave everything linked below so that you can see the price of everything. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed this look. If you want to see a different color, I will say the only thing that's tough about a quad like this that's like all green is that The only way that you can create like different looks every time you use it is if you are changing up your technique. So obviously if I do this similar style of like matte dark shades on the outside and the green lid color of the sheen, like putting a metallic, one of the two metallics, they're pretty much always gonna look similar. So unless I switch that up and like, I don't know, do something else, you're pretty much always gonna get a similar look with the palette. So something to think of when you're buying a little quad. But hey, this is gonna be a staple when I just want a good olive green look. I mean, this is a great palette for it. So again, that's just something to think of if you're shopping for new eyeshadow palettes. The smaller variety, the less flexibility you have in looks. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and don't forget to comment, like, subscribe, do it all, support the channel. I really appreciate it, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye.